Welcome back to the Artisan of Glimmith, where we have gilded this one, but we have 11, probably 14 to go in the mingle shape section. Shape bank on this one. Only crosses and L's. This right here cannot be part of a cross. It is therefore part of an L. If it went like that, this would have to be part of an L, so it doesn't do that. If it went like that, this would be all alone, so it doesn't do that. Which is both possibilities for it taking this piece. It doesn't take that. It must do that then. Let's fill that in. Now, this has to be part of a cross, which means it does that. This has to be an L, like that. This is a cross again, and an L again, and a cross, and an L. Ooh, okay. This is part of an L, but that is not. It has to go that way. This is part of an L. It must do that to avoid this space. Whoops. So there's a cross here. And an L here to finish it. Nice. Okay. L's and S's. Shape bank. Now this can't be an S, or it would close this one off. It's an L. However, it could also be an L that way. Except, no, that could be an S like that. So I know that those two pieces go together. Let's look at something else. That one. If this were an L, it could not do that because this piece would be isolated. And if it did that, this would have to be yet another L. Therefore, this is not an L. It's an S. So that must be part of an L. Probably that one. Yes, because if this was an L and not part of that, it would block everything off here, and this shape wouldn't be able to complete. So we just do that. Now this is an S. This must be part of an L. Leave it alone. That one comes down here. This can't be an S because that would isolate this space. So it's an L taking that space, which makes this an S, which makes this part of an L, probably this L. If this were part of an L, and not this one, which is also an L, that would leave an I here. So I'm going to join those two together. I don't know quite what it's doing. This must be part of an S. This must be part of an L. But that is an L, so it's the same L. Now this and that are both S, and that means it's that. This is an L, but this is an S. And this S has to separate two L's. There. I got that one. Ooh, that was a hard one. I'm going to leave that 6 for a while. Let's come over here. 2s, 3s, and 4s. This has to be a 3, that has to be a 2. And we do have mingle shape still in effect. This cannot be part of a 2, and it could be part of a 3 if it went up to here, except that would leave this space having to be a square off the board. So this is not a 2 and it's not a 3. There. We cannot lay a 3 down like that because it would be touching here. This has to be part of a 2. This has to not be part of a square. So there's a good chance this one just goes over here. Otherwise, we would have a 2. We would have a 2 that goes like that, a 3 that goes like that, and then this couldn't be anything. So this is going to do that, and this will do that. Which means this is another square. This one comes here. It might go to there. This has to be part of a domino. 2. This one is just that. This is that. Because it's touching the 2 and the 3. Now this is a 2. This has to be a 3. So we could not end this as a 2 and start a 3 here that comes out because it would hit that one. So that's a 3 on its own, like that. Now this has to be part of a 3, but it can't go that way. We can put a domino here, we could put a square here. This has to be a 3. This and this both have to be domino. So that's a 2. This is another 4. This has to be part of a 2. This I can see a way to finish it. I am looking to see if it's the only way. The way I see right now is this, that, and that. Is there another way to finish that? I don't think so. That... No, there is not. So it's that one, that one. If you go over there to that one, how do you get back? Climb the tree and jump. 4, 3. Take that 3. Okay, that is that. This is also that. We have mingle shape, the shape bank. Ah, okay. So this cannot be a 1. It has to hit that. And now it must be part of an L. So it takes either that or that. It can't take that because mingle shape would mean that it's interfering with that one. There we go. Now this has to come out because it can't just be a 1, and now it's a 2, and it's done. This can be a 1, and if it came out here, it would be a 2 and be done, and it would conflict with that. This 2 cannot go here because it would touch that one. So it does that. Now this cannot be a 2 or a 1. It's got to do that. This must be a 1 on its own. This 3 can't go here. This has a 2. So this is that. This, it could be a 1 or a 3. If this were a 1, then there would be a 2 that was here and it would touch that. So that solves that. If I were to put a 1 or a 2, if I were to put a 1 here, this 2 here would touch that 2. So this is a 2. This is a 1, and it's done. Let's come over here. Mingle shape and polyomino. Ah. This is... Okay, this cannot come to here because then it would conflict with that. It can't come to here because of that one. It needs to bend, so it must bend there. Now this one can't go here or here. It is going to have to take that one, otherwise there would be a conflict. That is not what I meant to do. This one. Yeah, this and that are part of the same shape, but I don't yet know which way they go. This one can't go here. If it went to here, that would block this one. If it went to here, that wouldn't be as bad. If it went to here, it would be touching there, so it doesn't go there. So this does not go up and here or down and here. It There's nothing telling me anything about that shape yet. Or that. This could go up and take that one, which would be like that. And then this one would probably do that. And then we could have another one there. These would have to get split. And that, and that, and that. Well, something along those lines. All of that works. It could also take that one and be much the same, with this one then taking that. That's a 2, that's a 1, this is a 2, that could be a 2. This could just go, it couldn't go. Oh, okay. If that did that, this one would have to avoid touching, and then this one would do that. That would get broken, but there would be nothing saying how it got broken. Which is a bad sign. This one couldn't complete. Yeah. If this goes down like that, none this eventually breaks. It's quite a ways in, but it does. This can't take that and the top or bottom. Either that or that. Because that would conflict with all three of those. And if it took that one Well, that would also break if it tried to do that. So this can't take that. And if it took this, things are gonna break up here. This one's gonna get squeezed out. We do that and that. Oh, this right here would immediately be broken. So it would do that. Then it would do that. Then this could not do anything without touching that or that. Yeah, so it doesn't come down and take that one. Instead, it comes up and takes this one. That does not work. That doesn't work. No. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. What did I think worked? That doesn't work. What I drew here, that does not work. This one touches that one. How do I make it work? Well, this one can't take this space. So it does that, and now it has to take that. We can fill that in. Now this one cannot go there. This one cannot go here. This one can't come to here because that would conflict with all of them. If this were to go here, it would touch that one. If it were to come here, it would touch that one. It has to be that. So there must be a way to do that. Now this one can't go here. And this one can't go up there. It's going to have to be the same as that one. That's 2, that's 1, and that's 2. This is a 1 on its own. Whatever this is, it is not part of that. Whatever this is, it's not part of that. If this one comes up here and does that, okay. This one can do that. Yeah, okay, that works. This does that, this does that. There you go. Everything came together. Five. 6, 4, 4, 4, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's the one in the house. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There should be 2 others. Oh, there's two others. A 4 and a 3. Let's do this one. Mingle shape. Ooh. Okay, that is going to have to be just a domino. This is also going to have to be a domino. And we do have mingle shape in effect. So it must do that. And this can't touch that or that. Whoops, nope. Now, this has to be something other than a domino. And that has to be something other than a domino. This one, it has to come out here. Now it can't take another shape, another symbol, so it has to do that. This cannot be a domino next to this. Once it takes one of these, that or that, it is locked off, so it's got to take that. Now this has to not be a domino or just a 3, so it comes all the way out here. I don't know if it takes that yet. This, it must take that, but that cannot be just that, so it's got to come out more. Now, what I have is 3 reds, 3 blues. This one, if it took that, it would be the same shape as that. So it does that. And now it has to not be the same shape as that, so it does more. This one, okay, this one has to come out to here, and it can't be just 2, and it can't be 3, so it's that. Then this one does that, and it's done. I need to, well, let's see. Let's try this one. Okay, if these were separate shapes, they'd be touching because we still have mingle shape, but it can't happen. So they're the same shape, and it does that. Now this has to come out here. It could go to there and take that, or it could come up here and take that. It does one or the other. No, if it took this, it would be touching that one. Therefore, it takes that one. Now this does not take that. This doesn't take that. And it can't take that. It must be the L though, so there. Now, I think this one is going to take that one. And then there'd be a single here, and this one would do whatever it does. That one cannot take this space. If this were to take both, if this were to take that and that, this piece would be trapped. It could not be for long. Therefore, this must do either that, which I think has a problem. Let's see. Yeah, that would break a lot of stuff. That one would be broken. This one would have to do that, which would break that one. So this can't do that. It could do that, but it can't do that. And it can't do that. It's that then. Now this is 4 long, and it must take both of those. We'll see what else it does later. This one is that. Here, yeah, it is the one that I thought. This is a single. That has to take that with a single here. And this is an S, and that one takes that. Okay, that's gonna do it for this one. I need to take a break from this for a bit, so thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.